So this video is going to be an absolute disaster because I don't know what I'm doing, but we'll get through it together. I hate that. Hi everyone, my name's Maddie and welcome back to my channel, and today I am picking my books for the 2020 Reading Rush Challenge. This is new to me. I never really had like social media growing up, so like I kind of missed out on like being a member of the booktube community and bookstagram and like following along with all of that stuff. And now that I'm kind of going on my own social media journey, that doesn't make sense. Now that I'm back in the world of books and I'm not just reading and crying to myself in my room, I get to cry to you guys on the internet. I decided it was time that I take part in this challenge. It's also done by Canadians, and I'm Canadian, so we love the Canucks support. I'm super excited for this. I'm also kind of nervous. I've been in a bit of a reading rut. Actually, that's a lie. I haven't. I read the book like 2 days ago. Literally, if I'm not reading, I'm saying that I'm in a reading rut because I'm like, could be reading right now, but instead I'm doing this, so who knows. Anyways, I'm super excited for this challenge, but I am working this week, so I kind of wish it was the week before the challenge will actually be this week that is right now, because I have Friday off, but next week I'm working a full week, so my reading is going to be limited based on the time that I have before and after work, and like squeezing in reading on my lunch break. So I'm gonna try and like probably mash some of the challenges together to make this feasible. Let's just dive right in. So my first book is a 2-for-1. It's going to fill number 1 of the reading challenges as well as wow, I told you this was going to be a mess, but literally my phone is right in front of me and there's 7 things and I can't find it. There we go, 6. Number 1 and number 6. So number 1 is read a book with a cover that matches the color of your birthstone. This is the only book I have chosen before I'm filming this, simply because I did not think I owned any books that were this color that I hadn't read, or like I couldn't think of any that I want to read off the top of my head. And then I realized it's actually my aunt's, but I have Stephen King's, oh yeah, this lighting is going to hate us, this video. I have Stephen King's The Eyes of the Dragon. It's actually a super shiny cover. I guess I should tell you when I'm born because that makes more sense. My birthday is May 31st, so I am an emerald birthstone, so this works for that. Also, I do read a stupid amount of Stephen King, but I don't read a lot of fantasy, and I'm trying to get back into it, and the last fantasy book that I tried to pick to read was terrible, and I tried to suffer through it, and I made it like 280 pages before I like eventually gave up. So we're hoping that we can make it through this one. It's about like 300 pages, and it is illustrated, so I think that's feasible. Plus, I do know I'm a fan of Stephen King's writing, so even though it's a fantasy, I'm like hoping that my love for his writing will like help carry me through it. It's not that I don't like fantasy, I just don't read as much of it as I would like to. I think sometimes for me, if like the world building overtakes the story, then that kind of like pulls me out of it, where I love like more like character focused fantasy novels. So anyways, book number 1. Alright, this is where things get chaotic because I have made 0 decisions for the rest of this reading list. Read a book that starts with the word the. I actually have like a stack. Hold on, let me see if I can pick this up without breaking anything. I got a book I ordered in the mail, plus I have a stack of library books, and I'm just going to try and see how many of these I can make fit the reading challenges while still having them feasible that I am not running on 3 hours of sleep trying to finish everything. So I have 2 options here. I have the Dakota Winters or the Lonely Hearts Hotel. I think I'm going to go with the Dakota Winters just because I think it's a little bit shorter and I'm more excited to read this one. So this book follows someone who lives in New York City's famed Dakota apartment building, which of course is where John Lennon was shot and killed outside of, and I am a massive Beatles fan. I've been to Liverpool. I missed Paul McCartney twice. He was in London when I was in London at Abbey Road, and I missed him by 30 minutes. And then he was like literally underneath the hotel I was staying at in Liverpool at the Cavern Club, and my dad and I were like at the windows trying to see him outside. Radical, but it's just a cool story now that I get to tell. So this book follows someone who lives within the Dakota Winters Hotel, and I think they're going to end up befriending John Lennon. So that's a super interesting story that I'm really, really excited to read. So that's going to be my number 2 book that starts with the. I wonder if the actual book itself starts with the, because at first when I heard about the challenges, that's what I thought they meant, and I was like, that's going to take me forever to find one. No, the book starts with Dearest, or August, if you count the date at the top. So we have 2. We're making our stack for this week. What's next? Read a book that's inspired a movie you've already seen. Okay. I ordered this book from the library, but it's not here yet. So I'm like hoping that it gets here this week, or that I can find it, like an e-copy of it. So the book that I really want to read, that I haven't read, but I've seen the movie, is All the Bright Places. I think it's by Jennifer Nelson. I could be wrong. So it was a book that I kind of wanted to read. I'd seen everywhere, and I was like looking into it, but it was really, I was worried it was going to be one of those books that was like super overhyped, but wasn't really that good. But I loved the movie. I really enjoyed it. So I'm super excited to, hopefully, fingers crossed, when the book shows up, or I can find it online, read that book this week. So that's 4 challenges done, 3 books. Wonder if I should try and mash some of these other ones. I'm probably like making this way too hard on myself. 4, read the first book you touch. Okay, I have 2 ideas for this. I think I'm going to go with the second one just because it's like more entertaining to me. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my Goodreads TBR, and I'm just going to scroll, and I'm just going to like tap. And just whatever book I tap, that's what I'm going to read. I will like buy it on my Kobo, I'll find it online, whatever I gotta do to get that book, that's what I'm reading. I'm just like really hoping it's, I think Les Mis is on my TBR, and if we hit that, we're reshuffling. So, here we go. Let's see, how many books do I have on my TBR? 41. Alright, some of them aren't out yet either, so if I hit those, that's not happening. Alright. I'm just gonna close my eyes and... So the book that I stopped on is The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro. There's just a quote here, not the book description. Let's Google that, because I don't remember what this book is about. Do you ever do that? Like, you read books on places, and then you just, like, put them on your TBR, and then, like, sometimes I'll, like, even request books from the library, and then I'll forget what I requested, and I'll be really confused. When I get the books, I'm like, cool, why did I want to read this? Alright. This novel follows an elderly Briton couple, Axel and Beatrice, living in a fictional I'm gonna butcher this, Arthurian, after the era of King Arthur, England, in which no one is able to retain long-term memories. Okay, that actually sounds super dope. Yeah. It's 345 pages. I think that's doable. I don't know, I should do a total page count at the end of this. Alright. 4 books, 3 books, 4 books down. I don't have 2 of them. Big brain. I promise I have some semblance of intelligence. Who knows? I told you this video was going to be a mess, and apparently I can't count, so that's a problem. 5, read a book completely outside of your house. Okay, so this one, I don't actually need a TBR, I just need to read it outside. And this is one that I'm worried about because the challenge doesn't start till Monday, and I'll be, like, I'm off this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I go back to work on Monday. I'm, like, really nervous about this because normally I would use my weekends to read outside. So I think I'm gonna have to, like, save this for the end of the week, or like maybe make a nightly habit to like go outside and read 50 pages of a book, just to try and like get that done. Maybe I'll read like 2 books at once. I'll have like an inside book and an outdoor book. That seems confusing. We're gonna make it work. We have a really nice deck. As long as it doesn't rain, we're set. It's not Canadian winter yet, so we're good. They were smart with when they picked to do this challenge. Okay, 6 we've already done. Read a book in a genre that you've always wanted to read more of. And 7, read a book that takes place on a different continent than where you live. This is going to be a struggle. This is going to be the rest of the video. It's going to be an hour of me trying to find a book. If I had thought about this beforehand, I probably would have picked The Astonishing Color of After, because that book takes place mostly in Taiwan, and then I think she comes back to England? The States? I should really pay more attention to where the books I read take place. I don't know if that's by an English or British author. Wow. Real smart of me. An American or a British author, because I can't remember where she lives when she's not in Taiwan. But that would work. But I'm not smart, and I don't think these things through. So we're just going to go through all the library books I have and see if any of these work. Alright. Girl in Pieces. I feel like a lot of books don't say where they take place. Who is this written by? This is an American author. That's a smart idea. Okay, she lives in Arizona, so I feel like this one might be a contender, but it's also a little thick. Do you like this book? I've been sticking sticky notes to for notes for my fanfiction, and I haven't taken them off yet, so if you can't tell, this is Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill, which I feel like also takes place in the States. We're not outside of the country, we're outside of the continent, aren't we? Yeah, so that doesn't work either. I thought that was going to work because I was thinking outside of Canada, but that would be super easy because there's so many American books. Set in Montreal and New York. That book made my life easy. Alright, we have 2 more library books, and then we're gonna have to go to my bookshelves. I'm pretty sure this one also takes place in the States. It's also massive, so I really don't want to use this as my TBR. Okay, it lives in Pennsylvania, so we're gonna say this takes place in the States and not force myself to read a 700-page book in a week. But I will do it. I have done it. Always when I'm like in class and I have other stuff to do, I just like pick up. Like I read Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky earlier this year, and I read The Institute by Stephen King, which are both 700-page books, and I like read them in 3 days each while I was at school. I was like, I can read 300 pages a day and not do my homework. Do as I say, not as I do, kids. Okay, I just started this the other day. I don't know why it's in my stack. This takes place in Canada. That doesn't count. So, my library books have failed me. We have a solution to the problem, kids. I actually just got this book the other day. I'm super excited for it. I'm actually more excited for her new book, but that book isn't here yet, so we'll figure it out. So this is Solitaire by Alice Oseman. I am currently spending my summer/quarantine ingesting literally everything she's ever written. There's like 3 books left by her that I don't have if I count like physical volumes of the Heartstoppers, and I have been trying not to splurge my first paycheck on just buying them all because I just want all of them because I love and appreciate her so much and I really want to support her. And I was having a crappy day at work, and my mom came home and brought the mail, and this book came in, and I also got a Nellie pin from the Heartstopper comic, and a print that I ordered, and I've never been more excited in my entire life. That's a lie, I've probably been more excited in my entire life, but hyperbole. We're going to teach you about literature today. See, I can't count, but I can say hyperbole, so I'm an English major for a reason. Anyways, I'm going to shut up and talk about the book now. I'm sorry, this is a disaster. Okay, I'm going to read the back. I think I can read. I can't speak, but maybe I can read. I don't remember not being serious. As far as I'm concerned, I came out of the womb spouting cynicism and wishing for rain. and if that was not me. So my name is Tori Spring. I like to sleep and I like to blog. Last year I had friends. Things were very different, I guess, but that's all over now. Now there's Solitaire and Michael Holden. I don't know what Solitaire are trying to do, and I don't care about Michael Holden. I really don't. So I'm super excited to read this book because I know it centers on a teen dealing with depression, but also because I have read, and if you haven't read it. I'm not a frog. I'm just going to start saying ribbit soon. Okay. Words. If you haven't read it, you should go read her webcomic Heartstopper, which is amazing. But also one of the things that I love about Alice Oseman's books is she like weaves them together. So like people call it like the Oseman verse, where like all of her books intersect with one another. So the main character of this book is Tori Spring, and her younger brother Charlie is one of the main characters of the Heartstopper comic. And Tori makes lots of appearances in Heartstopper, and she is like super sassy, and she's also like kind of reminds me of like a little bit of like a, I want to call her a vampire, but that just feels mean, but she has like this very like words are not my thing today. She just like appears out of nowhere and then just like knows things, and she's also like very like kind of like goth-esque, and I relate to her so much. I need to stop. Yeah, she always knows the tea or the gossip or whatever is going on in that story, and she's always like following along, and every time something's happening with Charlie, she's just in his doorway like, bitch, you want to tell me what's happening, or are we just gonna be rolling with this? So all of Alice Oseman's other books I have read in pretty much 2 days, where I like start them one night, read a whole bunch, and then I finish them the next morning. So I feel like it's very reasonable for this to be a good TBR for a Reading Rush challenge. So, we have our books. Only have 3 of them here. That's okay. Because the other books that we're reading, watch, I'm gonna forget them. Maddie, get your life together. Okay, we're gonna start from the beginning, we're gonna go through all the challenges, and we're gonna say what books I picked for them. So, just to wrap up. So, for challenges 1 and 6, read a book with a cover that is the color of your birthstone. Mine is emerald. And challenge 6, read a book in a genre that you've always wanted to read more of, which for me is fantasy. I have picked Stephen King's The Eyes of the Dragon. Capiche? Capiche? Okay, number 2. We're going to see if I can count this time. Number 2, read a book that starts with the word the. Reading The Dakota Winters by Tom Barbash. Sorry if I butchered that name. That's 2. Number 3, read a book that's inspired by a movie you've already seen. All the Bright Places. That is on my TBR for this Reading Rush. 4, read the first book you touch. So I just scrolled through my want to read on Goodreads and stopped, and I got the book The Very Giant. So that will be the book that I will be reading for that. And then, of course, I have to read one of these completely outside of the house for number 5. And we've already covered 6, so number 7 is a book that takes place on a different continent than where you live. And I just realized I spent forever talking about Solitaire because I couldn't form a coherent thought, and I did not tell you what continent it takes place on. What a disaster I am. Alice Oseman is British. Her stories take place in the UK, that is in Europe, and I live in North America. So I probably told you everything about the book, except for the one thing that it needed for this challenge. So anyways, that's the tea. That's what's going down this week. I am super excited for this, maybe also a little bit terrified. I haven't had to like read on a schedule since I've been in school, but I know this is just supposed to be for fun, and I'm like super excited about the virtual live streams and getting to be a part of this and all the badges and everything, and it's just all the hype. Now I'm gonna go try and sleep somewhat over this weekend so that maybe when I form words, so that when I film my vlogs this week, as I read throughout the books to make my video for after the reading rush is complete, they will actually be articulate and not whatever this mess is. And I will also try and film in the daylight and not by a lamp at the side of my laptop so that none of you can see me. Do I have more to say? No. I'm gonna make your pain stop now. Anyways, if you want to learn more about the Reading Rush, I will link to them in the description. Please come along on this crazy ride with us. It's going to be a fun time. We're all going to read some books and have fun, because words. Okay, wrapping up. Thanks so much for watching again. If you want to follow along with what I'm reading, I will link my Goodreads in the description, along with my Instagram, where I do post what I'm reading, but I also post a lot of the art that I make. I also have a blog, which I've been failing at lately, but I do try and update it twice a week. It's about reading, art, media, everything that I do, and as per usual, I will be back here on this channel next Wednesday with a new video for you. And yes, I know I'm not releasing this video on Wednesday. I am not so sleep deprived that I do not know what day it is. It's just, it's been a time. We're gonna get through it. We're gonna read some great books, and we're gonna have some fun, because fun is the only word in my vocabulary tonight, apparently. Yeah. So, until then, have a great week, and we'll see you back here next Wednesday.